Alright, so good night and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I want to do a series tonight on access and databases. So I'll be talking about databases and how they operate. I'll be showing you in Microsoft Access how to create databases. So we'll do something basic. We'll do a small database, maybe for a car rental company that we can actually use, along with all the objects that come with it. So what we know is that a database is used, like the name suggests, it is used to store data, and we take the data and we manage that data to produce information. Microsoft Access is a good example of one of those easy to use database management software, and allows us to create database easily. Other database software that I'm familiar with is, for example, MySQL, and I've heard about Oracle. Right, so we will dive right into it if we can. We know that we'll be constructing our database with 4 objects. We'll be doing tables, which will store data. We'll be doing forms, which will be used to enter data into table, and we'll get a chance to see all of those working together. We'll be doing queries, which is when you ask the database a question and you get an answer returned. And we'll also be creating reports. So this will be a small, and I'm hoping I can do it in 4 series. A 4 series a 4 episode kind of database, learning database in Access, and we'll see if we can get you started with Access and get things going. So what the plan for tonight, or the plan for today, is that we'll be creating our tables first. So we'll be looking at working with a customer table or a client table, which will be the people who will be renting our cars. We'll have a table for cars constructed within our database, and we'll also have a table which will act like some sort of a receipt, which will be our rental table. So I'll be showing you how to build those 3 tables. We'll look at a couple table properties if we can, just to set some of those in. And feel free to pause the video at any time if you run into any issues in terms that there's something that you don't understand and you want to go back, or you want it repeated. Just pause the video, rewind that video, so that you can get it right. I'll be going as slow as possible, and I'll try to do this in 4 series. Right? So let's see if we can get started. So one of the first things we want to do is to get Microsoft Access opened. I'm working with Microsoft Access 2010. You might have 2016, you might have 2017, whatever it is. The versions are all the same in terms of what they can do, apart from the newer or the other templates that they provide. So I'm going to open a new blank database, and I'm going to call my database here my car rental database, right? And I'm saving it in my documents, so I just click on create. Again, most of the Microsoft Office suite software, they kind of look and behave the same in terms of features. We do have our ribbons and then our buttons to assist us, our shortcuts. So the first thing we want to do is to create our tables. And already Microsoft Access gave us a default table called table 1 that we can use. So we're going to right click on this and choose design view. So we right click and we choose design view. It then asks us to give our table a name. We're going to call our table, and this is the first table, we'll be using this one for client. We're going to call our table then our client table, right? And so we know that this will be storing the list of clients or people who come to rent vehicle from us, who come in to rent cars. Here we're then asked to enter the field names and data types, and these are essentially things that would describe a client. What normally goes in first is your primary key, and already Access tries to give us a primary key. If you're not sure what the primary key should be, and the primary key, by the way, is a unique identifier for an Access table. And so for client, as an example, we can use something that is unique to that client. Right? So for example, a social security number, a license number, because we're dealing with car rental, you would want the people renting your cars to actually have driver's license. So we can use the driver's license as a primary key. And again, remember, a primary key is a unique identifier. So let's make this our license number. Sorry. So our license number is our primary key. This will be, and we get to choose the different data types, and our data types includes numbers, date and time, currency, and we also be using text. In your case, you might have something called short text or long text. We can place it to short text, right? So I'll be using text, and this is the driver's license number. So I'll just put a note to say what it is in here, right? Driver's license number for my renter. Okay. Next thing that describes a client is their first name. And of course, it's always a good idea to separate the names: first name, middle name, last name. I'm just going to stick to first name and last name for now. And so we're doing first name as text, last name as text. We might also want to know the person's gender and maybe their date of birth, right? Just so we can get an idea of their age. We may also want to know their address, and the address you can have as a first line address, second line address. First line address means let's put down the street number there, and second line address would mean let's put in the city or town that they came from, right? So I'll say, and I want to put it as first line address, as a text, and second line address as a text also, right? And so second line, I'll just put a note saying that this is the town or city, and first line address is just the street name and number. Just so I can remember what it is. I just noticed too that for date of birth, it would have been nice if I selected the data type given by Access called date/time, right? So that's good. We'll also, if we can get a person's phone number or contact info, we could also do that. And this could include your phone numbers, which would be text. And I'm putting phone number as a text because most of the phone numbers you write down here is like 666-55 something, right? And because of that dash, it wouldn't be represented as a number, and so we can represent it as a text. We can also include email address and so forth, right? But I'm leaving this like this. This is enough information to describe my clients who come in to rent a car from me. The next step then is to, I can show you this one time. We have something called table properties. So if we want that our user enters only M or F, right, for male or female, we can have a validation rule that says that they are restricted to that. So they can only enter M or F. The minute they add in the entire word male, we could have something, a piece of text pop up to say, you know what, I only want you to enter M for male and F for female, right? So validation rule, under gender, we're saying only enter, and this goes in the double quotes, M, and then I close my double quotes, or F. So again, we're putting this under validation rule for the field properties for gender, right? Validation rule for the field properties for gender. If they place anything else in that field that we don't want, we want to have a validation text that gives a pop-up message to say, you know what, you need to enter this or you need to enter that. So in our case, we're going to tell the user that this field
F for females
uses,
and so the user will read that once they type in something else
for males,
and we could make the message even more user friendly, but this is okay just to show you that you can add a validation text which follows the validation rule. So we can move on. We have this as our primary key. If the primary key was not set, we could have right clicked on the cell and choose primary key, right? So this turns it off and this turns it on. Also, if you missed something, like for example, if I missed middle name, I could always right click on the cell and insert row, or I could right click on the cell and delete row if there's something that I don't want. So I know that that feature is there, that you can always go back to your design view and edit your table, right? So we're good. Our client table is set. We're not adding any more data into this, right? Apart from that, Access or database software actually gives you the power to separate tables, unlike Microsoft Excel, where you start repeating data. So what we're creating is something called a relational database. Yeah. So let's get this saved. To save this, I normally would come here to the close table button and choose the close, and then yes, to have it save the client table. So now on the left hand side, under the access objects, we can see that our client table is built. So let's go ahead and build our other table that we mentioned. And already remember that we already planned out our database. So our database would contain our clients, our cars, and a rental table. So our next table then is our car table. So let's go to create, followed by, and we'll go directly into table design. So create followed by table design. Under table design, for this we know that we'll be doing our car, and so a unique identifier for our car can be our license plate number, right? Since all vehicles have a license plate number, and we will have that as a text. And again, in your case, you might want to put it as a short text if you're using the later version of Microsoft Access. So license plate, we also want to make that our primary key, and so we can right click and choose primary key. And again, primary key means that it's a unique identifier, meaning that no two vehicles will have the same license plate number, and so this is okay. It makes it very unique, right? We can then add in some other characteristics of our car, and so we can say, all right, the color of the car was, and that will be a text. We can have what we call the brand. Is it brand or model? And that will be a text. And the examples I am talking about for that, and I hope I got it right, was Ford, Toyota, right, and so forth. We can then have the model. So Toyota might be Toyota Hilux, Ford might be Ford Ranger, and so forth, right? We can also have the year the vehicle was built, and I'll put this. Oh, all right, there we go. Name is a reserved word. All right, so we'll change that from year to year built, and I'll put that as a text. I won't use date/time, although we can use date/time. I'll put it as a text though. It's just taking a year. We're not doing any sort of mathematical operation on it. What else can we have? So color, brand, model, year built. We can have the engine type. You can have how many doors. You can have the insurance company that it's insured under, and the list goes on, right? I'm going to stop here. This is okay, right? And I'm going to save this as my car table. So I click on that X to close it off, and I'm now saving this as my car table. So these are cars, these are trucks, these are vehicles I have in my car lot that I'm going to be renting. Good. I have two tables built. I want to work now on the third, and the third will be kind of like my receipt. Whenever somebody comes in to rent a car, I want to be able to say that this person with that license number rented a car with that license plate number today, right? So I'm going to create again, followed by table design, and in this table I'm calling this table my rental table, and one of the first fields we could put in is our rental ID. And rental ID, because it's serving for me like a receipt book, I'm going to have this as outer number. So rental ID, outer number, and outer number means that the computer will automatically assign a number to my rental ID field. I want to make this my primary key, so it's going to be unique for everybody, right? And next then I want to know who comes in to rent a vehicle. So I'll go back to client table. I'll use the same field that I have here, which is called your license number for the driver, and for the car I have something called license plate number. So whenever I rent a vehicle, I want to know who rents my vehicle, and I can know that by putting in the person's license number, and that's your renter, and I want to know which vehicle they rented, and so I can put in the license plate number for that particular vehicle that they rented. I want to know the date the vehicle was rented out, so date rented. I'll put this as date/time. Maybe there is a price, and we'll just assume that we're putting in these prices individually, and for that I can use good old currency. And so we have the license plate number, we have the license number for the renter, we have the date rented, we have the price. That should be enough data for us to work with at this time. We also need the duration of rent. Okay? Duration of rent. And this will be done in days. And so I'll say the number, I'll put it as a number since we're doing it in days. So the person will be able to rent 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, right? So we're renting by days. Alright, I'll just put a note here that the rental is done by days. And this can get even more complicated where we say we're able to rent car by hour, right? And so we rent for 24 hours, for 48 hours, and so forth. But I'm saying we rent for 1 day, right? We rent for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, just to kind of save us some time right now. So good, we have built our other table, which is going to be called our rental table, and we'll be using this to tie the other tables together. So let's save this as our rental table. Good. I like to keep this space clear whenever I'm working with my database, so that whenever data is refreshed, whenever I want data refreshed, I can just double click here and it opens, right? So we created our 3 tables, our car table, our client table, and our rental table. We want to now tie these together by creating what is known as a relationship. Already they're related because of the fields, but Access gives you the privilege of creating that relationship, which helps us in other stuff using Microsoft Access, right? So to create your relationship, you go to Database Tools, followed by Relationships. Database Tools, followed by Relationships. I want to add all 3 tables, so I just went ahead and select all 3, and I click on Add. If you wanted to add them individually, you could. If you made a mistake and you want to delete a table, you can always right click and hide table. If I missed a table, I can always right click and show table, and it brings back that same pop-up box. So let's say I made a mistake and you double click and you add another rental table by mistake. I know this is the odd one out because it has rental_1, and so I can right click and hide table, and so it's out of the equation, right? These can be resized to where you want. These can be dragged around the screen, so you kind of just open them up so you can see all the fields and drag them around. So the next step is to create our relationship, and our relationship means that the field from one table is being shared with the other table. So in this table, for example, in the car table, our primary key is a license number, and we notice we have license number here, which will be related, right? So license plate number, sorry, which will be related. So license plate number in this table is no longer a primary key, but it's called a foreign key. And so foreign keys here and a primary key here in one table. Creating a relationship is quite easy. We're going to skip through some of the stuff. I just want to show you the basics of creating relationship. And so we can click on license plate number field from the car table, hold and drag it over to license plate number field in the rental table. And we notice that this pop-up box comes up for the relationship. There is the relationship type and there is enforced referential integrity. We're not going to worry about those yet, right? I'm just showing you the basics again in creating tables and creating the relationship. So once we have this right, we can then click on create. And that line comes up that joins the fields together. So now they're related. If we made a mistake, we can always right click on the line and choose delete, right? If you made a mistake creating the relationship. So let's do the other one. License number over to license number and then create. I don't like how these are, so let's move this way, right? So we can see car table and client table. Now that looks a lot neater. So license number for the client table and your car table and the license plate number. So the relating table then that is related to both of them is your rental table. Okay? And this gives you a better picture of how your table will function in Access. So we will fill out data for our client table. We get a new client. Would be nice to have them added in. Car table, all the cars in our parking lot that we have that we're renting. Somebody comes in for a car. We give them a rental ID. We take their license number. We take the vehicle license plate number that we're renting. We get the date rented, the price, and the duration of rent as a number, right? So we're all set. I'm gonna stop this first series here. It shows you how to quickly create tables in Microsoft Access and create relationships. And if you have any question, leave them below as a comment. And if I missed anything or anything you want clarified, please let me know. But I'm going to stop there, and we look forward to our next segment. Our next segment talks about creating forms. It's going to be really short. Creating forms is easy, and we're going to do some editing of forms. So see you in the next video.
Catch 'em all.